one of the early takeaways is that digital entrepreneurs, Black digital entrepreneurs, are outperforming Black entrepreneurs writ large. So to your point, there's something about the internet that we assume would be potentially a leveler, because there are certain, barriers and hurdles to entry that are removed within the digital landscape. So I'm curious about your thoughts on the potential of the digital space to close this racial wealth gap. What are the opportunities and where do we need to lean in?
Ooh, that is a big, loaded question. I appreciate you asking it. I also want to say I appreciate you guys gathering data, because that's the biggest gap that we have. Like when we started Glow Up, there were no comps. They were like, do Black women even play video games? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? So it's like, like I came from TV. Like if I'm making a show, right? You wouldn't have a show with no comps. You're like, oh yeah, the people watching Insecure probably watched, Friends. They probably watch Family Matters. They probably watch Fresh Prince. They probably watch this, and they definitely watch Girlfriends, like stuff like that. But we had nothing to go on from video games. Video games had less data, and because they don't break out Black consumers. They don't see us as a market that is worth doing. And then there's some issues around data. There's data restrictions around how they even gather type intel, because generally when they're gathering race data, they're using it to discriminate. So there are restrictions that like that makes it very dicey to even ask somebody like, what is your ethnicity? Ethnicity, as you know, is normally determined by zip code. They look at your zip code.
It's a proxy.
And they make make a proxy judgment. So that if they're trying to say, this is how many Black people, they look at your zip code.
Fascinating.
Isn't it? So many things that we've learned on this journey. But in terms of digital wealth creation, like 100%, right? So one, the tools were democratized. This is what happened in the blog world. Back in the day, you had like GeoCities. You had to build your own webpage and then build the content on it. And that was duh. I mean, like, I was on there. I had an Angel Fire page, put my little blink tags. I felt really good about myself. But, you really had to do a lot of labor to get to the meat of what you wanted to do. And then blogging democratized that. Web 2.0 democratized all of those things, because all of a sudden it was just like, okay, well, we already got the framework. You just got to come and put your content in it, what you're looking for. And I see the same revolution happening right now with TikTok, where all of a sudden it's just like, but you can just do anything. Like, okay, fine. You don't need that much. Like, it's all on your phone. Just hit the button a couple times. You don't need a whole crew. You don't need a whole setup. When you're at the professional levels, you do. But for the average person, all of a sudden it became like you didn't need editing skills anymore in the same way. You don't need those things to be able to sit and put your podcast on TikTok or do whatever you want. And so that leveler of the playing field, that access that doesn't require going through a gatekeeper is big. A lot of games are funded through like publishers or through venture capitalists. And there's a really small group of people, a very white group of people. It's like specifically certain folks. And if they weren't feeling you, that was it. It used to be. And then all of a sudden it democratized. So even like mobile games, a lot of the big games companies were really slow to mobile. They're like, who's going to even play on this? And it was literally Apple not even trying to do anything. There was kind of like, what else can we put in this app store? Games. That birthed this huge market with mobile gaming and allowed for like direct publishing and Apple developer licenses. I think it's $129 now, but it's like $99 a year when we started. It's $100. It's not the same level of investment it used to be. And so you can do all of these different things. And then you have access like YouTube University. The amount of stuff you can just learn because somebody put it on YouTube. Like, I don't know how to, and it's anything. Right. I don't know how to fix my sink. I don't know how to do this thing in Blender. I don't know what a shader is, and I don't know how to calculate the Fibonacci sequence. All of those things are on YouTube. I can just look, somebody did something with it. And so it's like, so it's created all of these places that allow you to not have the overhead, to not have to put things together. Like, think about Black broadcast, right? Like, think about BET and Channel 1. And just think about like the innovation, because again, from this area. Once again, how do these things happen? We are all here.
Right.
But thinking about what it takes to mount a television channel, right? And like the billions of dollars that takes, the staffing and the marketing and all of stuff, the licensing, all the things you have to do to make a TV channel work. And now everybody has broadcast capability from their freaking phone. It is a phone. My favorite stat about phones is they were like, the average phone has more computing power than what we use to send the astronauts to Mars. To the moon the first time. The moonwalk had less computing power than your average cell phone now. That is insane to me. Because I was just out there in space with a calculator. Like, how did this happen? happen. But again, foolish. You're like, we can do this. We can totally run this calculator and make everybody go to space. Everybody's delusional. That's how we all work.
You can't tell our people all statistics.
You can't tell anybody.
Where's Nana? Why is Nana going to Mars? What did you do? Why did you create this?
Why did this happen? Why not? It was there, and there's probably a dance trend to go with it. Like that is how we do everything. But there's an opportunity there, and like you're seeing this. Like I participated in like this Black in Crypto study that was really interesting from the from Cradle, this like crypto research lab, and they found that African Americans are higher adopters of crypto. Yeah. We're putting slightly less into it, but more willing to look at these other avenues for wealth building because so many of the kind of traditional paths are difficult and denied to us. So there is a tried and true method, again, like that, going to college and working your way up and getting to be the top of something and getting to be able to be an angel investor and do these things. But there's also all these new weird economies that pop up. Remember, TikTok was Musical.ly. And Musical.ly didn't exist more than 5 years ago. So this entire creator economy, all of these careers have been launched, all the stuff that has happened, all the ways in which we do like brand market, all these things that people are like, I do content on the side because this is my side hustle now. All of those things happened in the last 5 years. And if that platform goes out, something else will happen. But so that to me is always the potential of digital.